God, there's so much to unpack right there. Eliza, Elizabeth.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the most embarrassing and uncomfortable discoveries on the genealogy series Finding Your Roots that left celebrity guests a little uneasy.
We're not so good with messy truth.
No.
And this is a messy truth.
Number 20, Nora ODonnell's grandmother's citizenship revoked.
It says Mary Teresa Monahan, and then it says canceled.
Canceled. Do you know what that means?
Does that mean she was denied?
The grandparents of CBS News anchor Nora O'Donnell immigrated from Ireland to the US, where they met and got married. O'Donnell's grandmother, Mary Monahan, came to America at 23 and managed to build a life for herself, eventually becoming a naturalized citizen. However, Monahan's citizenship was unexpectedly revoked, not because she committed any violent crime or act of treason, but because she told a little lie.
Claiming that she was single when she was actually already married. Why did she lie?
Since her husband, O'Donnell's grandfather, was still an undocumented immigrant, Monahan lied about her marital status to protect him from being deported. Call it a white lie or a loving fib, but for O'Donnell, it was a surprising revelation that made her reevaluate how she viewed her grandmother.
It's a reminder that, that we all come from somewhere. And sometimes we forget where we came from.
Number 19, Sammy Hagar or Sammy Belcher.
Sammy, genetically, you are not a Hagar.
Get out of here.
You want to find out what your real biological surname is?
Yes, this is nutty as anything I've ever imagined.
When Van Halen lead singer Sammy Hagar appeared on Finding Your Roots, he made some shocking discoveries, but none left him quite as bewildered as this one. The show's researchers unearthed an 1850 census document, which revealed that Hagar's great-great-grandmother, Elizabeth, was raising her kids alone. Oddly enough, her husband was alive and well, living in a neighboring county with his own mother.
And as far as we can tell, they never reunited. They separated and never reunited.
She raised kids by herself?
She raised kids by herself, yep.
Wow.
So this is where the story gets wild.
To untangle this mystery, they tested Hagar's DNA and found that he shared no biological connection to the Hagar family. Instead, he was genetically linked to 27 men with the surname Belcher. Host Henry Louis Gates Jr. speculated that Elizabeth may have had an affair, which prompted her husband to leave her and move in with his mother.
Well, this gives me so much mind-chewing ability. I mean, man, my mind's going to work on this like a mouse on a wheel of cheese, man.
Number 18, a legal dispute in John Waters' family.
This is like a Dickens novel, and you never heard anything about it.
No.
Well, that's how the money was passed out.
Bitter family disputes are nothing new. They have occurred for centuries, plaguing both royal elites and regular folks alike. In the season 7 premiere, filmmaker John Waters learned about a conflict within his own family.
It's twisted history.
It is.
Yeah.
Your family tree drips with drama.
Yeah.
After the death of her husband, Waters' great-grandmother, Bertha Whittaker, was dragged to court by her mother-in-law, Mary. This fight was over custody of Bertha's young son, Clifford, and, as is the case with many other families, money matters. Mary argued that Bertha had an ungovernable temper and lacked the resources to raise the child. However, the court disagreed, granting Bertha custody of Clifford and even giving her a chunk of the family fortune. It's the kind of riveting twist you'd find in a John Waters film.
And thinking up drama. I'm always thinking up and saying things that happen to people. Yeah. That's how I make my living.
Number 17, Lavar Burton learns of his white ancestor.
Did you have any idea you had a white direct ancestor?
No! No, I had no idea.
When you go digging into your family tree, you might not be entirely thrilled with what you find. No one knows this better than actor and TV host Lavar Burton. Burton, who rose to prominence for playing enslaved protagonist Kunta Kinte in the 1977 miniseries Roots, discovered his own roots traced back to a white farmer named James Henry Dixon. To make things even more awkward, Burton learned that Dixon had served with the Confederate Army during the American Civil War.
Are you kidding me?
That's true.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I did not see this coming.
To say that he was shocked by these revelations would be an understatement. However, he did manage to find a silver lining, acknowledging that it could help ease his conversations with white people in America.
Especially in this current time frame, in this now moment, I believe that as Americans, we need to have this conversation about who we are and how we got here.
Number 16, Neil Patrick Harris reacts to his ancestor's tragic fate.
Do you have any idea what they are accusing your ancestor Gertrude of?
Making some delicious meal?
Long before the Salem witch trials in the late 17th century, individuals across Europe, especially women, faced accusations of witchcraft. One of such women was Neil Patrick Harris's 12th great-grandmother, Gertrude Stool. Stool was accused of enchanting her neighbors' livestock to kill them, and she was placed on trial for her life.
She is supposed to have bewitched the pigs and cows of her neighbors so that they died. The cattle had foam on their necks, one cow lost her hooves, and the pigs had breathed like a bellows.
Sadly, the proceedings ended with Stool being found guilty of practicing witchcraft and sentenced to death. You'd think this tragic family history would provoke a somber reaction, but instead Harris seemed oddly thrilled by the idea of his ancestor being burned at the stake. Even more unsettling, he drew a connection between Stool's accusation of black magic to his own love of magic.
But I would like to think that she really was a witch, and she had magical powers. We lost one for the cause, but the witchcraft lives on.
Number 15, Larry David's secretive mother. It can be astounding how little one knows about their own family history. For comedian Larry David, this truth hit hard when he went on the show hoping to learn more about his mother, Rose, who he admits was notoriously secretive.
You know, she was older than my father.
Right.
I never knew that until she died.
Oh, okay. So there you go.
It's always puzzled me how little I knew.
As the researchers sifted through historical records, they unearthed a document showing that his grandmother had a daughter named Regina. But David was puzzled. He had never had an Aunt Regina. Did she die, change her name, or simply vanish?
Wow, so you think we made a mistake?
No, I don't think you made a mistake. I think she must have left somebody there, or maybe she died.
Well, no. Turns out David's mother, Rose, was actually born Regina, a fact he was completely unaware of. Whatever reason she had for the name change, Rose took it to her grave, leaving her son utterly confused.
Did you know your mother was born in Europe?
No, I did not. You see, this is why
She had secrets.
Yeah, secrets, yeah.
Number 14, a hidden relationship in Sierra's ancestry.
Nathan, no, don't go there.
Nathan said, I'm going there.
Yeah, he went there, and his wife went somewhere else.
In the season 10 premiere, Sierra stumbled upon a family secret involving her great-great-grandmother, Emily Redding. The singer's DNA test showed a biological connection to Redding and her son, Willie Head, but not to Willie's supposed father, Nathan. To add to the surprise, the results also linked Sierra to several other people, all of whom were white.
I think about like my grandfather's hair.
Oh, yeah?
You know.
He had good hair?
Pretty. As he got older, it got a little more, a little more coarse. But I look at some of his, the photos that I did get to see from when he was younger with my grandma, and it was fine.
Further investigation revealed Willie's actual father, a white man named Walker Lafayette Head. Apparently, Walker and Nathan lived near each other around the time Willie was conceived.
Walker and Nathan grew up in the same house together.
Wow.
And at some point, when both men were about 40, Walker slept with Nathan's wife.
Whether Walker and Redding's relationship was consensual is unknown, but Sierra seemed to believe it was. However, considering the societal dynamics back then, that might not have been very likely.
I'd definitely like to believe there was some connectivity that happened.
People fall in love, you can't control it. Desire is colorblind.
Oh yeah, love is love.
Number 13, Sunny Hostin's Spanish roots.
I'm still sort of shocked about the depth of the ties, I guess.
What do you think?
All these white people just came up out of the ground? They had to come from somewhere.
TV host Sunny Hostin was born in 1968 to a Puerto Rican mother and an African-American father, so she always believed her heritage was half Puerto Rican. However, when she appeared on Finding Your Roots in February 2024, she got an unexpected surprise. Hostin learned she was only 7% indigenous Puerto Rican and that she descended from a Spanish merchant who, it turns out, most likely participated in the slave trade.
Wow. I'm a little bit in shock. I just always thought of myself as Puerto Rican, half Puerto Rican. I didn't think I was, my family was originally from Spain and slaveholders.
This revelation contrasted with her political beliefs, leaving her feeling a mix of shock and disappointment. Despite this, she admitted that the discovery enriched her understanding of her family's history, even though it didn't necessarily change her perspective.
I guess it's a fact of life that this is how some people made their living, on the backs of others.
Number 12, LL Cool J's biological grandparents. Getting told by your parents that you're adopted can be earth-shattering for anyone. Now imagine making such a discovery years after they've passed away, on a TV show no less. That's exactly what happened to rapper LL Cool J and his mother, Andrea Griffith, on Finding Your Roots.
But they had their reasons for not telling me. Finding out when I'm my age now, I can understand it. I can put everything in perspective.
After his parents split up in his childhood, LL was raised by his maternal grandparents, who supported his musical ambitions. But one secret they hid was that his mother was not their biological child.
There was something odd about this birth certificate. Notice that there are no parents listed. Mm-hmm. Notice also that it was made out in 1947, which is over a year after your mother was born.
Wow.
Even Griffith didn't know this, only learning about it through the show. The news was so sensitive that host Henry Louis Gates Jr. had to first call LL privately, away from the cameras, to break it to him.
Well, some people would have wanted to keep this information private, but you and your mom wanted to learn more.
Yeah.
Why?
I need to know this. I mean, my mother deserves it.
Number 11, Ben Affleck controversy.
It's always been a kind of a blank canvas to me. And so I'm very excited to sort of fill in the blanks.
Discovering that one's ancestors owned slaves can be embarrassing for some people. It was this sense of shame that pushed actor Ben Affleck to a drastic point.
It makes it feel less academic and more personal, and I'm very surprised by this.
Affleck appeared on the show in 2014, where he learned that his maternal ancestor Benjamin Cole was a slave owner in Georgia. The revelation unsettled him so much that he went to great lengths to keep it hidden. Affleck successfully lobbied Henry Louis Gates Jr. and the show's producers to omit this information from the aired episode. However, the infamous Sony Pictures hack that year unearthed emails that revealed Affleck's efforts to suppress the truth. The ensuing controversy led to the show being temporarily suspended, although it returned after Affleck apologized for his actions.
We tend to separate ourselves from these things by going like, oh, well, it's just dry history and it's all over now. And this shows us that there's still a living aspect to the history, like a personal connection.
Number 10, Laura Linney's felonious ancestors.
Guess what?
I want to know what did
he
do?
Did.
What did he do? What did he do?
You might be familiar with the British practice of sending convicts to Australia during the 18th and 19th centuries. But did you know that before Australia, the primary destination for British prisoners was actually America?
Transportation of convicts to the American colonies in the 18th century was a way for England to rid the country of criminals without killing them.
If this fact didn't come as a surprise to you, it definitely did for award-winning actress Laura Linney. When she appeared on the show in 2019, Linney discovered that her fifth great-grandfather, William Linney, had been convicted in England of receiving stolen goods and was transported to Virginia in 1768.
Well knowing them to have been stolen, the justice said, "Mr. Linney, you hear what the lad has said. Have you anything to say?" Linney said, "No, I had the goods.
Probably not the most flattering information to learn about one's ancestors, but Linny took it in stride with a hearty laugh.
That is the passenger list from the ship on which your ancestors sailed from 1768.
Holy mackerel. Felons transported from London to Virginia by the Neptune.
Number 9. Soledad O'Brien's ancestor falls on hard times. Laura Linney was not the only celebrity to uncover their ancestors' criminal background.
I didn't realize on the Whiteman side, which, by the way, nobody talks about, and now I know why, because they also ran things like scams.
In another episode, veteran broadcast journalist Soledad O'Brien was also hit with a mortifying revelation about her third great-grandmother, Lilias Whiteman. Host Henry Louis Gates Jr. presented O'Brien with a prisoner register from 19th century Scotland, revealing that a 41-year-old Whiteman had been arrested for robbery alongside a group of teenage boys.
And in receipt of said theft. So she was handling stolen goods.
It soon became clear that Whiteman might have been leading a gang of young thieves in Edinburgh, Scotland. This theory seemed to embarrass O'Brien initially, but when they dug deeper into the actual reason why Whiteman resorted to crime, her perspective changed.
So her husband died at age 39.
Yeah, the death of her husband, the breadwinner, was probably what pushed Lilias and William into the life of petty larceny.
That's really sad.
They were stealing to survive.
Number 8, not Julia Roberts. The name Julia Roberts is instantly recognizable to millions around the world. But what if we told you it's actually not her biological name?
Is my head on straight still? Am I facing you?
The Oscar-winning actress derived her surname from Willis Roberts, her supposed great-great-grandfather. However, genealogical research uncovered a discrepancy. Julia's great-grandfather, John, was born more than a decade after Willis passed away. This meant that the actress couldn't be biologically related to Willis Roberts.
We scoured Douglas County looking for any record that named John's father, and we found absolutely nothing.
Through DNA analysis, the show eventually traced her ancestry to a man named Henry MacDonald Mitchell Jr., a married man who lived only a few miles away from Willis's wife, Rhoda.
A few short miles, it would seem.
And get this. According to the same census, Henry's widowed mother, Elizabeth Mitchell, lived just 4 households from Rhoda.
Wow. Despite the biological inaccuracy, we still think Julia Roberts has a much better ring to it than Julia Mitchell. Number 7, Issa Rays' free ancestors.
If they were named, would they be free?
The Charbonnets were free.
How did they get away with that?
During the era of slavery, people who were enslaved were typically omitted from census records. However, during her appearance on Finding Your Roots in 2021, actress and producer Issa Rays discovered documents that identified her third great-grandfather, Dawson Charbonnet, by name. This was due to the fact that Charbonnet's mother, Milite, had been granted freedom by her owner, who also happened to be a black man.
So you just blew my mind even more.
Mm-hmm.
So they were owned by
another black person. Slavery was a very complicated institution.
Yes, it was.
Additionally, Ray learned that Charbonnet's father was a white man who had his own family, but engaged in a clandestine relationship with Milite. If this all felt like a convoluted television B-plot, then you're not alone. Even Ray shared the same sentiment.
This is so... It's like you just took me through a soap opera, like a slave soap opera. Whew, wow. That is some twisted family history.
Number 6, Gail King's European ancestry.
I knew her father was white, and that her mother was black, but we were not to talk about it, and she never wanted to talk about it.
Gail King's family harbored a long-held secret concerning her maternal grandmother, Emma Brown. It was revealed that Brown was the product of a white father and a black mother, a fact seemingly concealed out of shame, at least according to King.
What was his ethnicity?
White man.
Just white man?
White man.
Not from Germany, England, Ireland?
No,
nothing.
white man.
White man, okay.
White man, and do not ask her about her father.
The genealogists at Finding Your Roots were able to trace King's ancestry back to Robert Elliott Copes, a white man from South Carolina and Emma Brown's grandfather. This discovery unveiled King's European ancestry, which comprises over 30% of her genetic makeup. However, when the results of this DNA analysis were revealed to her at the end of the episode, King didn't seem to be very pleased with them.
You are 1/3 white.
Take that back.
Number 5, Angela Davis descended from white settlers. You'd be shocked to learn what some of your ancestors were up to. That probably should be the tagline for Finding Your Roots. In 2023, the show delivered yet another jaw-dropping revelation, this time to political activist Angela Davis.
Any idea what you're looking at? That is a list of the passengers on the Mayflower.
No, I can't believe this. No, my ancestors did not come here on the Mayflower.
Throughout her lengthy career, Davis gained a fierce reputation for her unwavering advocacy for civil rights, as well as her relentless fight against structural racism. Hence, she was taken aback to learn that her ancestors were the complete opposite.
Oof. That's a little bit too much to deal with right now.
Davis was revealed to be a direct descendant of William Brewster, one of the 102 settlers who journeyed to the colonies on the Mayflower. Just goes to show that despite sharing bloodlines, people can still differ greatly from their ancestors.
Did you ever, in your wildest dreams, think that you may have descended from people who laid
Never.
the foundation
Never.
for this country?
Never. Never.
Number 4, George R.R. Martin's grandmother's affair. When George R.R. Martin appeared on Finding Your Roots in 2019, he uncovered a surprising family tale reminiscent of the sordid ones in his epic fantasy books.
Spent much of his childhood in the home of his beloved grandmother, Grace Martin. But George knew almost nothing about his grandfather, Grace's husband, Louis Martin.
Martin had always believed that his Italian paternal grandfather Louis had abandoned his grandmother Grace for a younger woman. However, that notion was shattered when the show's team revealed the results of Martin's DNA test.
What's missing from that chart?
The Italians.
The Italians. There's no Italian.
Okay, that's shocking.
Martin's DNA showed a quarter Ashkenazi Jewish ancestry, suggesting his true grandfather was Jewish. It was quickly surmised that it was Grace who likely cheated on Louis, which eventually pushed him away.
I've often thought of writing a book about, that house. It was.
Yeah.
I haven't even told half the stories yet of some of the people who lived there at various points.
That book just got more complicated.
Oh, we fully expect the next book to be chaotic. Number 3, the identity of Viola Davis's great-grandfather. Oscar-winning actress Viola Davis came on Finding Your Roots expecting to learn more about her ancestry, but she probably wasn't ready for the messy familial secrets she would uncover.
Did your mom ever talk about this?
Never.
Isn't that interesting? That silence?
Silence is always interesting to me.
Davis learned that her grandfather, Henry Logan, had a mysterious lineage. In official documents, 2 different men had been listed as his father, Gable Logan on his Social Security application and John Young on his obituary. Although Henry's mother, Corinne, was married to Gable, historical records showed that after he came back from World War I, Gable never returned to live with Corinne. Through DNA analysis and census data, researchers inferred that Corinne likely had an affair with her neighbour John Young, resulted in the birth of Davis's grandfather.
It's the mess of relationships and the mess of, love, sex,
It's truth.
Number 2, Katherine Hans' ancestors moved from Germany to America. Our forefathers often relocated to different countries for various reasons: economic prospects, fleeing conflict, or in the case of Katherine Hans' ancestor, eloping with their lover at the expense of family ties.
That is so complicated.
Well, one thing you should know that you don't have to worry about in the guilt chart.
No guilt, just like, what?
In 1853, Hans' third great-grandfather, Wilhelm Lunenschloss, was living in Germany with his wife and 6 children. However, by 1860, Wilhelm had moved to Wisconsin, now married to a different woman named Eliza. The Finding Your Roots team dug deeper into this significant change.
On the right, you could see the name of the man who lived at Ehrenstrasse 48, just a few doors down. Could you read his surname?
Anton Ternes.
And whose surname was Ternes?
Hers.
Through a German city directory from 1854, they found that Eliza was the daughter of Wilhelm's neighbour. This suggests that Wilhelm met Eliza there in Germany, then abandoned his family to start a new one with her in America.
The fact that that had to happen for this to happen.
You are the product of the scandal.
I know.
You are the end result.
Isn't that nuts?
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1, Niss Nash learns who her grandfather is. Hollywood actress Niss Nash was in for a rude shock when she appeared on the 9th season of Finding Your Roots. Turns out that the man Nash had always believed to be her paternal grandfather actually wasn't.
I was in a state of shock. I think I said what now? What exactly does that mean? And then I realized what you were saying.
Naturally, this was an incredibly surprising revelation for the actress, who now faced the challenging task of breaking this news to her father. Researchers on the show used Nash's DNA, along with that of a second cousin, to uncover the identity of her biological grandfather, a man named Frank Jackson.
What's it like to see this?
So many things are going on in my mind right now. I'm like, I wonder if my father ever met him or if he ever knew him in his life.
So how did this discrepancy occur? Well, that's the complicated part. Jackson actually lived very close to Nash's grandmother in St. Louis, so it's believed the two had an affair, which ultimately produced Nash's father.
That's where Mr. Jackson
So
lived.
Mr. Jackson came round to the house a time or two while she was already married to Arthur.
Well, we don't know if he came to the house or she came to his house.
But they met on up.
Would you ever want to dig into your ancestry? What would you hope to find? Let us know in the comments below.
Well, that door just opened.
Here it is.
Yeah.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.